I started getting interested in bees because I was taking a year-long course in biodynamic agriculture in Spring Valley, and one of the sections was beekeeping. And as I'm very interested in organic gardening, etc., and I work for a program that has a farm upstate, the bees really captured my attention in terms of as being a project I was interested in. They're very social and incredible to watch, and I really was compelled by the story of the crisis in bees. I decided to get a hive and do my part to support bee culture. You know, get these like thousands of bees, and you take care of them, and you make sure that, you know, they have the conditions to thrive.
Right.
And yet still they don't thrive. My bees were doing incredibly well all through last summer, which is when I started keeping them. They survived the winter. They cleaned their hive. It was really exciting the day I came out and the snow was covered with yellow. And then the spring came, and I noticed that there was almost no activity.
Wow.
And so I went into the hive to discover that, I mean, it looked like most of it was dead. Bees were all dead at the bottom of the hive, and there was a sort of clump, you know, one clump sort of very active. It's still not as thriving as it was last summer, and when we go in today, actually, we may discover something great, we may discover something sad.
Okay, let's take a look at the hive, and I know we have your son Omar here, and he's going to take us over there.
I'll go change into something lighter, and we'll get the smoker.
All right.
Usually just use a little bit of newspaper. I try to use things that don't have chemicals on them, so even like paper that doesn't have print. And then this is just clippings from my garden. Usually try and use something like from lavender to create a bit of smoke. It confuses them a bit, so they slow down. Bees are very docile. I mean, people always think that's not true, but all they really care about is doing their work.
Right.
So
I think that's a huge misconception also, you know,
really
that
is.
They're just out to sting people and, you know, hang around picnics.
Yeah, I mean, yellow jackets, you know, they're working.
Right.
They're annoying, but they're...
Right.
This is maybe a little down. So you want the flame actually to be quite high before you close the smoker. There you go. All right.
Hazel!
Hazel's getting in on the action here. Hey, Hazel.
Look at the camera.
Hey, Hazel.
So the first thing you do is you want to smoke the openings.
Okay. I didn't know.
So you just want to very gently smoke the openings. And you always want to move really slowly around them, because this is their home.
Right.
And you are technically invading it.
So you said this is the first time in about 2 weeks?
This is the first time in probably a little under a month
Okay.
that I've gone in. They're very busy. That's good.
It's a good sign.
They're very, as you can see, they're moving very slowly. That's not just because of the smoke. That's enough, sweetie, in terms of smoke. But they're just kind of going about their business.
Sometimes they land on my gloved hand and they like walk around on it.
Yeah. It doesn't scare you.
Yeah.
No.
Okay. So this is still not a completely thriving hive.
Okay.
If it were, there would be a lot more bees than there are. And so what I'm going to do is just take out a couple of the bars
Okay.
to see about, you know, get a sense of how many there are.
Okay.
I can see already that there is a lot of comb that is not filled.
Okay.
And that's not a great sign. at this time of year. This hive should be heavy and filled with honey. So they're still struggling, and they may not make it through the winter. I may decide in a month to reduce the hive just to one space. One of the things that we did at the beginning of the season when I realized that they were having a lot of trouble was we moved some of the bars so that they would be closer to the honey. And it's still not completely clear, you know, what the whole issue was. May have been a combination of things, weather. But, you know, this year I just decided would be a learning year. Really inspect the hive as carefully as possible and try and address any issues in a natural way without chemicals.
And I think most beekeepers are going in that direction, definitely.
Definitely.
Especially when, you know, a lot of the colony collapse disorder sort of opinions are that, you know, a lot of pesticides have to do with the disorder itself.
Yeah.
It's something that I think a lot of people don't talk about, you know.
Okay, so what you're going to see now is actually something very beautiful and something that was one of the things that inspired me to keep bees, but it's not actually a good sign in this hive. And that is new comb. So you see the white.
Yeah.
And they are filling it, but this has been in the hive since June in this position. Now, the one next to it...
That has a lot of bees. That's good, right?
Right. On the other side is better.
Ooh, honey.
Yeah, I see the honey there.
But still, it is not full.
Right.
Now the bar next to it, can you see the bar next to it?
Sure, we can
get
get a little closer. Yep.
Is covered. Now I'm not going to disturb them, you know, for the purposes of this to look for the queen.
Right.
You'll get that on tape from someone else. But so they seem to be, you know, they'll continue to do their work. But it's not making me hugely happy that at this point in the season they have not filled this. They're doing the best they can with the amounts of bees that they have.
Sometimes I name the bees. Since I like baseball, I named one Jeter the bee. And yeah.
So you kind of feel like they're pets in a way?
Yeah.
Again, you know, they're still brood. That's good.
It's amazing.
But it's not full.
Right.
What is
So-
the dark
empty
stuff?
You know, will they be able to make it with this little? There's a lot going on in the super below, and that's good news. One of the great things about working with bees is that it forces you to move really slowly.
That's a pretty powerful statement.
I love that about working with them.
Yeah.
You know, we should all move more slowly. Okay.
Awesome.
So, can you bring the smoke over? I'm just going to lift this up so we can sort of quickly see what's going on. All right, don't gently. And I'm not going to take anything out.
Okay.
But they're pretty. That's enough, honey. That's too much, actually. I really don't like to give them too much smoke, and in fact, often I will go in without smoke. It's just, again, less interference with their lives. But it's very active down there. Again, what they seem to be doing is filling on this side of the hive, and I'm not sure why that is. That's been true all season.
Do you think it has anything to do with that? That's where the sun is more?
No, I think that what they've been doing is working, you know, protecting the queen
Okay.
in their clump, and sort of ever so slowly working outwards from there. That's what I've observed. The other thing about working with bees is that it really forces you to look very carefully at things. And I'm no scientist at all, but it's an interesting activity to have in your life, to have to really closely observe and to deduce things from our observation.
Right.
All right, I'm going to put the lid back on.
Okay. We're going to step away here for a second. And the great thing is that, you know, this is a fairly small hive, you know, so anyone can really start up. Would you have any, you know, tips or advice for someone who wants to start out small like this?
Work with someone who knows what they're doing. I've had the great privilege to work with some people from the Pfeiffer Center. You know, I mean, obviously I took the course, the year-long course, but there are a number of, there's a garden manager there, Megan Durney, who's an incredible beekeeper and who studied with someone named Gunter Haug, who has a huge facility in the south now, but worked here for many years. And it's just good also to have someone to work with who knows what they're doing, just learn by doing with them.
Right.
And also then if there's a problem, there's someone to call.
Right.
You know?
Right.
I mean, the first summer I had them, there was an incredibly hot night, and all of the bees were hanging around the outside. I completely freaked out because I'd never seen it before.
Right.
So I called 3 different people, and they said, "Oh yeah, it's just the heat. They're just keeping cool." And of course, I thought they were swarming or leaving the hive. So being in a network of people is a good idea. And there's so many. And I mean, Rockland County is filled with beekeepers, but in New York City, everywhere, there are a lot of people, so you can always find something.
Yeah. And do you find that there are more and more people that you've come across that are keeping bees or that are joining, you know, networks of people? Do you feel like it's kind of a movement in the United States?
A friend of mine wanted to keep bees this summer and couldn't get a hive, you know, or a nuke because there weren't any to be had.
Right.
So, you know, and I think there are a lot of people, and also think that it's true that probably home beekeepers are one of the big, you know, if there's a solution, probably one of the big solutions, because you have one hive to care for, 2 hives to care for. Right. You can do a lot, you know, and that just accumulates.
Right. And do you notice a lot of I mean, you have such a gorgeous yard here with so many flowers and everything. Do you notice that you're getting even more flowers or bigger flowers?
Yes, I've definitely been, well, I don't know if I'm getting, oh yeah, I should move out of there. I've definitely noticed more activity, and not just from my bees. And I've planted the garden to be filled with flowers that I know that they like. You know, I had a mountain mint, for example, that they just love, so I planted a lot more of that.
Right.
I haven't noticed the flowers themselves, but that wouldn't necessarily happen here, since typically they want to be gathering pollen. I don't know if it's 20 feet or 20 yards, I can't remember, but usually it's not right where they are. It'd be interesting to go look at the mountain, because I know a lot of the bees go up where Tolman Mountain is, but I didn't look at the flowers there last year, so I wouldn't be able to tell you. Right. They love poison ivy, I know that.
That's interesting.
Don't they like clover?
They do. Bees love clover, actually.
Yeah. How important do you think it would be for, you know, something like what the BeeAlive Trees for Bees initiative is doing in terms of planting fruit trees all across the U.S.? Really, really huge for them.
You want to definitely be planting fruit trees, but also other kinds of trees that they like. I hope this encourages more people to keep bees in their yards. It's not that hard to do, and it's very rewarding, and it's also, I think, does make a difference in the bigger scheme of things.
Great. Thank you guys so much. Thanks, Omar.
Bye.